Hey there, traders. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group with your end of day recap for Tuesday. So, a little bit of an increase in the VIX today. Some headlines, headline-driven tape. First half of the day, we saw a nice little rally to take place. Particularly, small caps led us higher, and then they kind of led us back the other way. So, a couple things that happened this afternoon. Some further tensions with North Korea. Trump commenting on North Korea and what could possibly take place. And you could see this spike up in the VIX. You could see it start to edge higher. Jeffrey Gundlach was on CNBC afternoon talking about how volatility could definitely rise from here. I don't think this is anything new. Those types of comments, these are all things that I think everybody knows at this point. The fact that the VIX has been around 10, it's been hanging around here for a while. Now for the last couple of weeks, normally when you see the VIX kind of get to 10, below 10, you kind of see a little bit of snapback in volatility. We just haven't had it yet. And it's kind of drifted lower a couple times here, one time to below 9. So, sometimes you just have to sit on your hands. That's basically what we've been doing. We've been trading smaller and holding less positions, more of a cash position the last couple weeks. So I don't want to say we were right because I do have positions on that. I was had a lovely day up until about 12:30, and then ended up down on the day in terms of P&L. So just because I have smaller positions on and less of a quantity of positions, doesn't mean it's going to hurt a little bit when you have these types of reversal days. So I'll talk about the major indices, but just take a look at the volume. This is very representative when we have a little bit of an increase in volatility. Look at the volume in the VXX ETF today. Normally trades about 60 million shares a day, traded almost 90 million shares. So that's 1.5 times normal volume. That's good volume. And also, I have this sorted by the largest volume of the day in ETFs. And you can see how VXX is by far the biggest volume of the day. SPY traded about 10% more than average volume today. And then this one, VXX, which UVXY, this is levered VXX or levered short-term VIX. This traded 2.3 times normal volume. So you could tell when this happens. Sometimes this is present for a couple of days where everybody jumps on the VIX bandwagon and starts day trading these like nuts. TVIX is also another leveraged one that traded 14 million shares today. Normally trades about 9.5. So definitely this signals that people are jumping on and getting involved in the VIX. So what did we see? We did see a jump from 10 to 11. This will happen rather quickly when it does. And I like I said, I'm more comfortable buying once the VIX is at least in the single digits rather than out of 10. So we'll just look at how the indices behave today. We did hit support, so we did bounce off of support. The S&P, I think it got down to the bottom of value on the 1 hour bar and held. So kind of right back to where we started the day. Unfortunately, we took this whole thing. This looks crazy. We took this whole thing out, so it's kind of is going to look like a reversal day in S&P futures. A move to new highs and a failure. Not the best thing in the world. Kind of same thing for Qs. Qs did not get to the highs, but you could see almost a shooting star type candle for today. This one also we found support right at the top of value. Qs have been a little bit stronger this week, so didn't completely erase all the gains for the week, but fell pretty darn quickly. And then IWM, which I mentioned, was the leader today. That was the first indicator that we had some nice momentum at the beginning of the day, and that did it in about face as well on the 1 hour bar. So IWM finished down 30 basis points. It was up close to 1% earlier, so it's a pretty decent move. And you can see the long tail on IWM. So, economics that we had today was, which kind of caused the catalyst of the first place for us to go higher in the morning, which was nice because we actually started the day, futures were down. both Nasdaq and S&P. So the NFIB small business optimism 105.2 really strong, and then the JOLTS job openings. This came out at 10 o'clock, and this was the catalyst for us to move higher. We saw a lot of call buying. Apple was, I would say, the name of the day in terms of playing for a day trade. We had what all the way through to about 12:30, a really nice move, and then secondarily, I would say Facebook was also pretty strong, and then gave back all those gains and then some today. So those were a couple names. Other names that we saw some call activity today. We saw repeat activity in Procter, which I am in this trade. I mentioned Apple. We saw Apple a couple times. Tesla was another name that had some nice momentum. And this one actually held up pretty well. Was up $10 today, up 2% or 2.8%, even through that volatility. Really held up strong. We saw some buying in aluminum was very strong overnight. We saw some buying in Alcoa. A couple other aluminums were very strong today. We saw a little bit of some semi buying. Cypress Semi was one name that we saw some calls being bought as well. But it wasn't a huge amount of option risk taking. The Qs were a nice signal in the morning. We saw this was right around 10 o'clock, right around those Jolt job openings data that came out. So it was 10,000 of the August 145.5 calls. I have to update this. There was a number of puts that washed through the in the afternoon as well. So that's it for today. Kind of a quick recap, and we'll just kind of have to see how things go. A couple names that reported, I would say mostly names that moved down after the close today. Priceline, good numbers. They did the exact same thing last quarter. We talked about that in the training room before I just shut it down. They did the exact same thing. They had a real good quarter, but their guidance they sandbagged next quarter, and they did the exact same thing on the previous quarter. Disney also down after hours, down a couple bucks. They brought down Netflix. They said that they're going to be dissolving their pact that they have with them. So those are a couple names that reported. Fossil, this is a name that goes down almost every quarter on earnings. So that's it. We'll leave it there. That's for today's recap. Have a great night, and I'll see you back bright and early tomorrow morning. Thanks very much.